Hey Nick, we need a tagline for the podcast.
No.
Real life opinions. Movie reviews told by fans and not critics.
And we're back.
Bum-ba-da-dum.
Really?
Bum-ba-da-dum-bum-bum-bum.
No, not that one.
All right,
Not that
fine.
one. So me and Corey are sad sacks tonight, and Laura and Mike are gonna be
Laura and Mike
happy
couldn't
people.
care less.
You suckers.
Yeah, it'll happen. All's fair in love and Stanley Cup wars.
The Oilers are going to lose.
Yeah.
Looking to be that way.
Anyway,
Yes.
that's enough of that.
Statistically speaking, 91%
Yeah,
of teams that are
91%.
down 2-0 lose. So in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, but they only have to lose 2 more games and then it's over.
Okay.
So what are we doing today, folks?
The Green Book.
Oh, this has been on your docket for a while, right, Laura?
Yes. I absolutely love this movie and I've been pushing for this one.
Well, it's an excellent movie. This
This is Laura's favorite horror. Wait, it's not a horror. This is Laura's favorite bloody. No, there's no. Well, I guess there's technically.
There is blood right at the beginning.
There's blood in it, but either way, no. This. Wow. Yeah, this.
It's one of my favorite dramas.
Oh, we don't know what genre it is yet, do we? We haven't talked about what
Come on,
genre
don't
is it?
skip. Come on.
Oh my god.
Come
Anybody
on.
who's seen it knows.
I mean, right off the hop.
I'm thinking musical.
Yeah, definitely musical right off the hop.
No,
This is a beautiful character-driven drama.
100%.
Yeah.
My wife was very confused when she learned this was a Laura pick. She's just like, aren't her movies normally gory, Jeff? I'm like,
Laura branches out? What's wrong with you? I lost so much respect for you today. No, just kidding.
Finn.
No, but honestly, like also I was saying though, right off the bat, it was a slow burn start. I know, in all fairness, I was just finishing supper. I had to play in the back because I really wanted to get this finished before we started, and I found the beginning to be a little meh. But once it got into it, and I found it really the big hit was the second he walked into that car to start driving. It was a whole new movie for me, and I was absolutely engrossed.
Wait, walk into the
Shut
car?
the fuck up.
You know what he meant.
Yes, I do.
Getting capability to have logistical possibility, the words.
What
yeah.
was that first one?
I don't know.
Words are hard.
I agree. It was like the beauty about movies like this for me is I don't know I'm gonna love it until I see it, and then it's like holy shit.
And this is definitely one of those ones, like you said, Corey. It starts slow, and throughout the whole movie, it's building, and you're watching it, but it doesn't have any big finales or real.
No, it
apexes.
just it ends where it ends, and I love where it ends. We're not gonna get that part yet, but
Yeah.
it's basically like I can't do this without gesticulating, so try and hear what I'm trying to say. But it starts out with a very low plateau. And then the second they get into the car, it spikes up like 90 degrees. And it honestly, at the top highest point of plateau, it stays that way for the rest of the movie. There's no dips at all.
I do appreciate the character establishment in the first beginning of the movie, but there's some stuff that they established that it seems contradictory to what happens later on, like his racism, throwing out the cups. I thought, he steps into the car and that's almost totally gone right off the bat, and it seems strange that.
Well, because he was
the
getting
question-
paid.
Okay, but the question with that one is too: is he actually racist, or is he just doing it because the rest of his family is
Well,
pretending
if
to be racist?
he was grown up in a racist family, so by default he's racist. But then he learns to be himself, and he learns to find out for himself what it's really like. And the amount, I guess this was during segregation. This movie takes place in 1962, but holy fuck, was I literally shaking at some of the racism in this movie.
Right.
Absolutely.
I wrote down a note specifically on that, and I can't remember where I put it here. But racism is assumed rather than thought of. he's not even thinking about racism in the beginning
He's
here.
just doing it.
And that is the indoctrination of your kids and this and that.
Well,
whatever.
living in
And I
an
love
Italian
that.
household of like 9 people. Yeah.
But it's not, and it's further in the movie too. It's not till further in it that he actually experiences racism himself.
Yeah, right?
It was. I really found it very interesting watching it a second time because I had no intention of watching it a second time because it was that good. I wanted it to live in my and I was fearful that it was going to break down the second time, but it didn't. I learned some more things, some layers, and I would not intentionally, but I would contradict Jeff in that sense that it wasn't gone. Like I said, it's honor, it's pay, it's take care of my family. He put it aside because he has to take care of what's important. And you watch him through it, you colored people. And he talks certain ways. And this evolution.
But Vigo is very much, and I'm going to use Jeff's favorite movie, Vigo is very much like Shrek in this movie. He's like an onion.
Yeah.
He's got lots
What about a
of
cake?
layers.
Cake has layers?
He does look very ogreish.
I do. The one thing I noticed this time around in the very first scene, the intelligence that Vigo's character has that is looked over because of the accent. Yeah, that accent doesn't scream intelligence. But he got that hat from the hat girl in order to just garner a better position in the world he lives in.
Well, that was established too with the whole I want you to talk better and everything.
Yeah. And I liked how that
Because he knows, he's like, you're better than that.
you're smart, but you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah.
This part with the sorry, Laura. This part with the whole brothers watching TV there. It's so funny because it's such a stereotypical Italian family in a movie where you don't want barriers. I am so stereotyped by this family. So
But it's right here where he goes back into the kitchen and he's checking the pot. He sees the glasses in the sink, looks at them, goes back to the pot. It's not until afterwards that he thinks, oh, I should get rid of these.
I like how they show that. I like the cut scene to that. It was just like it's not a big deal. It's just I'm just gonna do it.
Right. But he also looks back at his family like they're here. I've got to get rid of them.
can we have a Corey moment for a second?
Sure.
Fuck Linda Cardellini's hot.
Yeah, my wife was watching this with me, and she's just like, "Who's that actress? Who's that actress?" And I'm just like, "That's Velma." Like, what?
She was in Grandma's Boy. For the 2 people who listen to our podcast.
No more people than 2 listen to Grandma's Boy, so.
Oh, I think it got better now when we got that little
Yeah.
surge. So.
Yeah, I actually thought that was really funny that she showed up in another movie we did after Grandma's
Yeah.
Boy. Because this is such a contrast
Oh, 100%.
in styles and movie.
Really funny analytics. We have 444 plays right now, and we have 4 listens on our last podcast.
Oh, nice.
So small things amuse me. So,
Yeah.
and my wife, ask her.
So, is it
You're not supposed to hold it in when I'm
implied that
bringing it up.
the wife isn't racist? Is that the
I think she's
implication?
just kind-hearted. It's not so much that she's not anyist. She's just kind-hearted.
With your point about the racism being so, for lack of a better term, systemic, like grown into him, how do you feel the contrast of the family towards the end of this movie? Do you think that they were so welcoming, not to bury the ending of the movie, but do you think that was because they know their brother and their son went on this journey with this man, or do you think it was a failure in movie plot?
I don't. So I think it's partially because of his wife, but also when you look at Vigo's character and the whole systematic with the family, he is, lack of better terms, he is the man. I mean,
All right. Let's watch Discovery, okay?
Oh, I agree with.
what the hell?
Your vote's right there.
Our TV's been doing this here. It just jumps off of the video and then.
And we need to take a quick interlude here for those listening on podcast land, we have
got-
technical difficulties.
Okay.
Just with the
Stand by.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Oh, there it is.
Well, we can
Okay.
still talk about it. I mean,
BDP. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to address. I think that's the message in this. It covers racism on different levels. We go down to these places where you can't eat here because of this. We look at this level, which is just you don't know anything. You've never taken a moment to really think about it. Your father was, so you just assume
See,
her, and that's where I think his racism, and I think his brothers are much like you say. Oh, you say he's good, then we're good.
Yeah.
in an Italian family, yes. That's
but
pretty
it's
much how it works.
It's also not said either. Like when they're down there and he's actually starting to experience the racism too. They talk about the letters, but that whole time he's down there, they don't say anything about her actually receiving a letter. So for all any of us know, he's actually telling her what happened.
She's reading the letters.
Not about the racism.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I was like, I was so confused there.
And that part might be just implied or even just off screen, you know, because I'm sure.
I like that when she was reading out loud and the one friend's like, I want you to write me a letter.
Write me a letter. Make dinner.
I want to change, not change, but I would like to say prejudice is not so much the big message as it is, racism is not, it's prejudice because we jump into homophobia
Yeah.
and homophobia and all this, and he's got to overcome all these systemic things, you know, and it's a one. I can't remember the guy. He's Blade now, or
Mahershala Ali?
If they actually ever
Yeah,
did.
right?
Yeah.
Bumped another year. But yeah, Mahershala Ali.
But you know,
Yeah.
they even touch on him stealing, and
And he
That was
bullshitted his way
interesting.
into this role.
he totally did. Yes.
That was the end. That was the thing that I learned a little better on. Oh, I never lie.
Right.
bullshit.
And it was just like
I never lie. I bullshit. That's why
Like-
his name is Tony.
And
the
what is
Lip.
the difference between
that leans into the honor of the mafia code or whatever the Italian code. But wait a minute,
That's
you
racist.
do, you know.
But like he says it too. Like they either can call me Tony Valamona or Tony the Lip.
No,
It's
Just Tony Lip.
Lip. No,
Tony
no,
Lip.
the.
Oh yeah, Tony Lip.
What a new world he's entering here right now, right? Like, you know, he says it later on in the movie that I'm blacker than you, right? And this is him, you know, coming up from the streets, and to him, this
That
is
was
a castle, right?
Such a powerful scene that
But
I'm
you-
blacker than you.
But you know this part right here too. Like he's having the conversation with what's his pickle, and there's no racism at all when he's talking to him.
Yeah.
Like, he's just
But
having a
again, it's
conversation.
because of the money
It
at
is
first
because of the
with
money.
him.
Yes.
He's even said it at one point. It's like, because I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
it's well established. He'll do anything,
For
right?
money.
Like
He'll eat 26 hot dogs.
Yep. Anything to provide for his family, right? He's got. There's no. Well, except for ironing clothes. Apparently, that's the only thing he won't stoop to.
I would do anything.
I like the world they paint here too. Like obviously he's. Where's he come from that a black man in this era has this wealth and this?
Well, he's
you know?
educated and he's a doctor, and a lot of his stuff, because he even says a lot of the stuff that he has started out as gifts, and then he goes and he performs, and a lot of payment is done by the gifts.
And
Well,
then
you feel bad for this world he's living in. You know, like I said, at first glance that he's living in a castle, this life of lavish. But you know, he says it himself. He's basically just this performer for rich white people. Like he's just
he's a circus monkey essentially.
And-
he's a circus monkey, but a very wealthy,
Very
well-to-do.
wealthy, yeah.
But it's also the fact too that they bring into it that when Tony asks, why is he doing this? He wanted to do this. He wanted to experience. Why he would want to put himself through it, God knows, but he wanted to experience it.
It's a powerful, powerful thing. Like, you know, he's sitting up on this throne above a white man right now, and that's an intentional choice of his, right? He wants to show that a black man can be above you, right?
Well, it goes throughout the movie, his intentional choices. what's the point of coming here if I don't eat here, or if I don't? Why are you paying them off? You defeat the purpose. Why did you pay off the cops? It defeats the whole point. To trying to, you know, and
I'm not gonna let you go rent a hotel room and sneak me in.
yeah,
Yeah, he's got pride,
principle and pride, and yeah.
but like he was humbled by the
KFC.
experience. Yes,
Sorry,
that was awesome.
I was sitting on that. That was a wonderful moment.
He was. I lost my train of thought with that.
He was
but-
humbled by.
Yeah. He was humbled by the experiences, and he was humbled by Tony or Vigo.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and
So-
even what he does to Tony when he tries to get him to shorten his name, and he goes, "I'd rather stay outside with."
which is funny because in either the back of the movie or in the credit where his name is Tony Valley.
Yeah.
I'm like, but he never bent on that.
No, he does not bend.
You know, in real life, he became a background character actor, eh? In movies like Goodfellas and stuff like that. Like, if you look at IMDb him, he's got some...
We're talking Vigo?
No. Tony Lip,
Tony.
the person.
Yeah.
This was based
Oh,
on...
okay. Yeah.
This is based on a real story.
Yeah.
He died. They died. They both died in
Within months of each
2013.
other, yeah.
I
Okay.
actually thought that was very sweet. They died like a few months from one another, and they stayed close friends the entire thing. Like, I shouldn't say dying close together is sweet, but it's just like, oh, you know, his friend died, so he died, right?
But, you know, like, that just proves that they could overcome racism because they end up becoming lifelong friends.
Well, it's funny.
And
like,
there's his wife going, "What the fuck am I?" Chocolate.
the term is always used in a lack of better words, sexual way, but they were soulmates.
Oh, there's
Yes.
Yeah.
Soulmates has nothing to do with sexuality.
But it seems most people take it in a
Yeah.
romance level.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
this is not, but they were soulmates.
Yeah,
As
they
a-
were connected with a deeper bond.
Well,
Yeah.
And even at the point where Dr. I can't remember his name.
Dr.
Shirley?
Shirley.
Shirley, yes. Dr. Shirley calls and asks his wife if he can
Oh, yeah.
take him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Christmas
that was
holidays.
interesting too.
Well, and it's his upbringing, it's his respect, it's his...
Which, again, he tells you, like, his mom had to fight to have him do all of this, but he doesn't talk to his family anymore. Has nothing to do with him. He had a wife.
It's funny, he never mentioned his parents. I assumed they were dead, but he talked about his brother, and that was it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I wonder if he's angry with his parents for pushing him into this world, like pushing him away from them.
Well, I think if they don't address it, then it's not important to the
It's
story.
probably not important.
you know?
And during all of this, it was more of a case of they wanted them to better themselves.
It's actually very annoying when they bring up stuff that's not relevant or important to the story, and you got.
I know how
Why
much you
is
hate
this?
that.
I mean, here's an example. Why the fuck was Sigourney Weaver smoking all the time in Avatar?
Well,
Because
Because she could.
Yeah, because she is a smoker. It was probably in her contract.
And it's like
I
throughout
want to
that whole
smoke.
movie, I'm going, this is gonna do something, and nothing is. She just was just a smoker.
I like a movie where it's just you let the character do character stuff because people, you should be looking at a person on the screen, right? So,
Oh, absolutely, but it's like you've got 2 hours, 2.5 hours, hour and a half to get all this information across these layers of this person. And there's not a movie in the world that shows every layer of a human character, of the human condition, because there's not enough time.
no.
You know, and so sometimes it gets muddled with too much. So I can appreciate that.
I can actually use that word too. I can appreciate the fact this movie was 2 hours and I believe 10 minutes long, and the way it started, the way it ended perfectly, and it told what it needed to tell without dragging it out. There's a lot of movies where 2 hours, like I hate to say it, but even take like a Marvel movie, if they cut it off in 2 hours, they'd be missing so much. Mm-hmm. But this movie, it arguably, yeah, there's background things like his parents, whatever. But again, like Mike said, it's not important. Why focus on it? So they get what they needed to tell in this 2 hours, and I liked it. So
Yeah.
It's amazing the the contrast between the two characters. Here's Tony Lip pawning off his precious watch
After he turned down the mob.
after he turned down the mob. And you guess it doesn't faze him. All this doesn't faze him. All the stuff he sees, it doesn't faze him. And yet you see the doctor, and everything gets to the doctor. Yet Tony, he will cave his convictions wherever he needs to, ebbs and flows. It doesn't bother him. And the doctor is so steadfast on what he believes in and how things should be, right? So,
And in their journey, he teaches him that it's okay to do that.
mm-hmm.
I found a lot of similarity between Kathy and I. Kathy's a farm girl type thing. It's about get it done. It needs to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why put it off? It needs to get done. Kathy's always buzzing around doing the shit that needs to get done. I'm far different about why are we doing it? Well, that makes no sense to do it that way. And I do get upset when processes are thrown off, at least in the world that I work in. So,
Well, in the world you work in, it's a little important to be done.
yeah.
I can tell that you've never fixed the hopper of a combine with duct tape and a couple of bolts in the middle of a harvest season.
Well, you were wrong up until duct tape.
I can honestly say I've never fixed a hopper during combine season, and I don't ever plan on it.
For a guy that grew up in
It's-
Saskatchewan, I've never been during a harvest.
It's a lovely, it's a lovely thing to be fixing stuff on the fly with guess your wits and whatever the heck you have in your hand. It's also a terrible thing.
Does having to kick the turkey count?
I don't know.
Don't kick the baby.
I know.
Sometimes you gotta kick that damn turkey. They're nasty little fuckers.
I know. We've at the shop contemplated doubling the shop rate if the farmer tried to fix it first.
I've heard of that
Yeah.
things, yeah.
See, so we're at the point in the movie where Dr. Shirley calls and talks to the wife, asks if it's okay for him to go, and you can tell she's visibly upset about it because it is Christmas,
Yeah.
but knows they need the money.
Yeah, he can't be eating 26 hot dogs every
It
day.
looks like he's done that a few times.
Well, it's earned him $50.
And
And in
then,
1960s.
yeah, and
Right?
the job was $125 a week plus expenses.
Yeah.
I was thinking that about the $50 he earned for the hot dogs. Like, that's a lot of money. Like, who bets $50 about
Well,
hot
they were
dogs?
taking money from everybody, so everybody was obviously betting a buck or
It was
two.
similar to that scene later on where he's betting in the alleyway with the other butlers
The
there.
1960s were how
And
much
so it just shows that he's willing to do a group gamble type thing.
Well, he's shooting dice in the alley because he likes it, right? And, like, it's established. That's who he is.
And here they give him the coveted green book for down south.
Okay, Mike,
I was
tell
just
us.
going to say, $50 in 1960 is worth approximately $530.
Who the fuck is betting $530 and a
On
hot dog?
I'd win.
Right. For 530, I think.
I would die.
Actually,
I
I followed a couple competitive eaters on TikTok. There's two women that are they look to be significantly under $120 for weight. They're very fit. One is a bodybuilder type, and there's two dudes. The guy with the beard. They throw some mean food down their gullets. You know, it's
But
just
Joey
crazy.
Chestnut's probably the most famous example of hot dog eater, and that dude's a twig.
Who's that?
Joey Chestnut.
Who's that?
He's the hot dog. He won all these competitions in
Yeah.
the States. So
Alright.
He's been eating hot dogs competitively for like 20 years, I want to say, in that
what was
range.
the guy's name in Stand By Me? Lardass?
Yeah, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
remember.
for the pie-eating
Yeah,
competition.
yeah.
That was Lard, and that was his nickname. Was
Well,
Lard
obviously.
Ass.
But yeah.
Who
Was
would
it
name a
Carrot-
kid Laura?
One of the boys? in
No,
Stand
it was, they kept talking about
Oh.
this one character. It was like a story to tell.
Oh.
And they would actually flash and do the
Oh,
scene
okay,
and everything.
And then it get interrupted
and then they all
by
get puking and everything. And
yeah. Well, that's because he drinks a whole thing of castor oil, 3 eggs, and God knows what else.
You know, I haven't seen Stand By Me since I was a kid.
I watched
One of my
it
favorites.
last year, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in a while, but last year's not that long ago.
I don't think I remember everything that happens. I know they walk on a train track and they find a dead body, and that's about all I remember from
And then
Stand By
they
Me.
fight Kiefer Sutherland and tell him that he's not taking it. And then
Is
they
he a
don't take
vampire in this one?
And Corey
No.
Feldman's in it too, so he's a frog brother.
it. Right? But
Just
no,
O'Connell.
Yeah.
Does Corey Feldman
Fat Jerry
fight
O'Connell.
Kiefer Sutherland?
What's that?
No.
That's Jerry
Yeah.
O'Connell. And then River Phoenix.
He's on The View now.
Is he?
Oh,
Fuck, I hate
He's
him.
a regular.
My wife loves him. I can't stand him.
I think he's not a bad actor, but he's annoying in real life.
See,
Is he still
If
with
you
Rebecca
ever-
Romaine too?
I don't know.
did you ever pay attention, Mike, to the poster when he pulls up to Carnegie Hall and it actually says Bob Dylan and
No, I did not
Oh,
notice
really?
that.
yeah.
The two Russians.
I thought only one was Russian.
Only one's Russian.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
can't remember the ethnicity of the other one.
He looks Jewish, and I don't mean that to be rude, but that's what he
I
looks
don't
like.
know. He's got a pretty normal sized nose.
I act all
Actually, the
apologetically,
Russian does
and then
look
Mike
more
says
Jewish.
that.
Actually, the Russian does look Jewish.
He's from Brooklyn.
So I could be right.
I
I love how they have the exact same car too.
Beautiful, beautiful car.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Is it a caddy?
It is a caddy.
Yeah, I thought so.
Like the vehicle trouble. Like those are brand new cars. Why are you having engine troubles in the middle of nowhere? And like, how does he not know about the flat tire in the snowstorm? That bothers me.
Well,
Like-
it doesn't. I've had that happen.
You
Where
were
I
not-
didn't realize that the flat was right away. In a blizzard, snow, howling, you're skidding and sliding.
I got a flat
That does
tire
not
on
surprise
a
me.
gravel road once, and we didn't hear it right away because the bump of the gravel.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we did hear it, and we're like, "What is that?" And it was too late. We ended up warping the tire. It couldn't get filled. We had to
Yeah.
buy a brand new tire.
Yeah.
And we were like 20 minutes outside of Red Deer, and so it took us almost 2 hours. It took almost 2 hours for a tow truck to get there, and it was summer, so whatever. And it wasn't like boiling hot, but it still sucked.
I mean, it's when you've been driving for how many hours, and you're just so focused, and the snow, you're being like
Warp
mentally
speed.
warped, and it's just like yeah.
By
He
that
do-
point, he was seeing pink elephants.
He does establish that he's hypnotized by the snow.
Hypnotized, that was the word.
It happens. I mean, I see that a lot in the winter. So
Yeah, I don't drive at night as well as I used to.
I can only drive at night with my glasses. I don't have a restriction on my license, but I do have an astigmatism, and so the night glare is bad for me without my glasses. So
We established he's got a drinking problem right here, right away. It's an allusion to
Which
the
one?
loneliness. Yeah, Dr. Shirley.
Dr. Shirley?
Like it's an
I
allusion
wouldn't say a
to
drinking problem. He just enjoys a drink every night.
a bottle every night. A
Yeah,
bottle every night.
I guess I'm probably the wrong person to be talking
What's
to about
Cutty
this.
Shark? Does anyone know what Cutty Shark is?
I think that's a
It's
type
a
of
whiskey,
steak. Is
isn't
it?
it?
Is it?
It's
Oh, Cutty. Oh, you might be right.
Cutty.
I think it's a whiskey.
I've never
I
heard
heard
of it.
Cuddy.
Yeah, I've heard Cutty too.
What is Cuddy Shark?
Oh, thank you, Google. Thank you, Google.
Not cutting.
What type of drink is Cuddy?
We're guessing
Blended Scotch whiskey.
blended Scotch whiskey. You could
There it is. Cuddy Shark was a deliberately created to defy conventions.
huh?
Well, it makes sense considering this is during the Prohibition.
And that
Wasn't
is
Prohibition in the 30s?
Yeah, it's not
it was
Prohibition.
before.
isn't that
No.
prohibition?
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Dukes of Hazzards was based off of the concept
Of the
of
Prohibition.
prohibition. NASCAR was built off of that, so there must have been a second bout somewhere in the
Maybe.
60s.
And maybe just in the south?
No,
No, they're in the north,
well,
aren't so.
It's still illegal to distill your own
It is.
like that, like
But-
they do on Dukes of Hazzard. It's not because of Prohibition Dukes of Hazzard. It's because of
He's selling his own
Moonshine.
moonshine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Uncle Jesse.
the illegal distribution.
This one's more or less the fact that he's a black man.
Well,
Buying
he's the
booze.
fu-
I mean, they're not allowed to do anything in the South.
Did anybody here see Ray?
No.
Oh,
with,
that was a good movie.
Fox?
No. I know what it
That
is,
was
no.
good. They addressed a lot of the same things. Ray had his substance abuse too. Not being blind, it was different issues, of course.
I guess he
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
see things then when he was high, huh?
Well, he did have vision till he was like 8 or 9 or something like that.
There's a Ray Charles line I love that he's just like, yeah, kicking heroin was easier than stopping smoking. I'm just like, what?
Wow.
Goddamn nicotine.
Yeah. I think this does it covers the racism more elegantly than Ray does. That was a good movie, but this is a better movie, I do believe.
This movie, the cinematography, the director, the acting, I felt immersed into 1962.
Oh yeah, there's
Oh,
some
yeah,
terrific
there-
acting.
Was there ever a moment that you were taken out of this? Where you
No.
or where you were forced to find your suspension of disbelief?
No.
It was all there. It was effortless.
And this has to be the most perfect Italian line I've ever heard in my life. How's the food? Salty. Like,
Hey, it's such a pause interaction here. It's like, have you ever thought about being a food critic? And he just says, no, not really. Because someone from higher society would be like, hey, why don't you critique food? You love food. This is something that you could do. And somebody in a lower economical situation would never even think of that. Be like, no, I gotta make money. Why can I do something frivolous like that?
but like, right? But it's like even here, like they're going. He's talking about it, and he goes, "Oh, it's salty," and he goes, "Well, salt's cheating. It disguises all the other flavors, so it's cheating."
Oh, is that the behind? Is that? Oh, that's interesting. I mean, nowadays it's like salt. Having something not salted is a sin.
I
Right?
don't
Yeah.
generally add salt to anything.
I don't either, just because I got
And I, well,
high
not
blood
even.
pressure.
Yeah, and I don't. I just don't like it. And the only thing I'll add salt to is a hard-boiled egg,
Yeah.
and maybe. And people find me weird for this, but maybe a stick of celery.
No, that makes sense.
My dad is the only thing he puts salt on is an apple.
Watermelon.
Watermelon, really?
Oh yeah, that was common.
Sweet and salty is a thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, you add salt to something that, like a salted caramel, that saltness brings out the sweetness, or
Yeah.
right, you know, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
my wife loves salted caramel
Yeah.
crap.
I have never been brave enough to try salt on watermelon. I might have to.
It's
I do
good.
I do like a sweet and salty, right?
He has to pull over, take a leak. He's like, "What are you doing?"
See, and I'm actually surprised Corey didn't comment
Look
on what they.
look at his face. Sorry.
Right, but I'm actually surprised Corey didn't comment on what he says Pittsburgh is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Serious?
Pittsburgh.
Schittsburg?
The
Oh,
look,
Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
the look on the doctor's face.
And what he's
It was
thinking of-
fear. What
Yeah.
do you mean? What do you mean? Pull over, take a leak. Is that was a look of fear.
So this is about the only thing of racism that I really see for the Tony Lip character after the doctor's introduced is where
Is the wallet thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a very small and subtle thing, but
But he even looks at him and shrugs, like
He's like, "This is
Have
just
it.
how I am."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love and hate that aspect about it. He's right. It's just what I've been learned. I've been taught. It's
Yeah.
just who I am, and it's just like, and I think this slow crawl, and then the fact they have this countered right after this. He's sitting there alone drinking. It's interesting.
Well, the Russian and the Bronx kid are sitting down there with two girls.
yeah.
Yeah.
I as soon like I said, this movie for me started when he got into the car,
Yeah.
and as soon as it did, like you mentioned the thing about Pittsburgh, everything, my brain shut off the Corey brain, and I was just enveloped into an amazing movie.
I do love the callback about like he says, "Oh, there's the one thing that bothered me, the one thing," and you're just like, "Oh, it's gonna be like when we got kicked out of the restaurant, or when you couldn't use the bathroom, or this or that," and it ends up
I know
being the
what you're
Pittsburgh
talking-
thing.
The tits aren't that big in Pittsburgh.
The what?
The tits aren't that big
Oh,
in
Yeah, the
Pittsburgh.
biggest regular size tits. And that's such a reflection of the character,
And
right?
this is when he's telling him to finesse his vocabulary.
His diction.
His diction, yep.
What?
Hey, I think he's got a charming accent, but like, you know.
Do you think Italian mafia is charming?
Hey, this character's a little charming with his.
Oh, he's incredibly charismatic, the character, but in spite of his accent.
Yeah, because it's a very lazy accent in my opinion.
Yeah.
See, well, it's just like, you know, right there. They don't like the way I talk, they can go take a shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Which I've never heard that as telling somebody to go fuck themselves before. So
Could you imagine that Italian mafia accent in the science lab doing research on microbiology or something? Right next to the guy from
the cells, they're dividing.
right next to the guy
like my
from
accent, you don't
Kentucky.
take a shit.
you don't like it, go take a shit.
I'm gonna use that next time someone complains about my vocabulary at work. I'll be like, you don't like it, go take a shit.
Alright.
But, you know, there's, like Corey said, you know, the first time you watch it, your brain just shuts off. You get engrossed in the movie. It's all about the characters.
And I'm funny because, like I've said before, I love dramas, but at the same time, it's not my genre, right? And so I generally go into a drama expecting to hate it. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Again, we're talking stereotype, we're talking prejudice, we're talking whatever. But fuck, like I said, right from the car scene, I was sucked in.
See, and like you said right at the beginning, you know, it's not a horror movie. It's not my go-to. There are a few that just draw me right in.
I didn't notice him sitting out there with all the black chauffeurs the first time watching, and now you can't help but notice that after the comment that's made. Because you guys think he's out there with all the other chauffeurs, right?
Well,
you guys think, oh yeah, he's just hanging out with the other, and then it's pointed out, well, you're allowed in.
Yeah.
Right.
I would introduce you.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he said too, because he wouldn't change the way he talks, he wouldn't shorten his name, he wouldn't do any of that. He'll stay outside with the help.
Can we take a moment to anti-appreciate? Because we always talk about taking a moment to appreciate. Can we take a moment to anti-appreciate his tie-tying skills?
They're shitty.
Oh my
Like-
god.
You know, why do you want to be a famous pianist and then dress like a butler?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's counterproductive.
P.S. Watching this movie in 1.5 and watching him play piano, holy shit.
His fingers just fly.
But I think, guys, we got to take ourselves a small commercial break here. So let's take a pause.
For the cause.
And we're back. Oh, we get to hear about him eating now, eh?
Yeah, you get to see his first letter to his wife and just how bad of a writer he is, which leads into a scene later on, of course.
I love the build-up with it. You know, why are we listening to this? Yeah, okay, so it's character building. We understand he's not too good with words. You know,
doesn't work good.
But then it becomes more apparent later on why we're doing this.
This movie does do a great job of building up. You know, there's just little things that, you know, build and build and build and build, right?
Oh, this was the first, well, if not one of the first scenes where he stereotypes black people to the chagrin of...
In a positive way, actually.
Kinda. He
I mean,
stereotypes
he's
regardless.
Great black artists of that era.
But he starts saying how you people should like it.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, these are your people.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And that's... You could see the look on his face. Like, he's like, I thought he was better than this. And so he wants to educate him.
He's looking very Urkel right there.
Let's get him some rainbow suspenders.
Can I do that?
He's wearing them under that sweater.
Yeah, you know, I don't think the rainbow suspenders was a sign of a gay man back in the 60s, so I kind of doubt it. The rainbow suspenders are kind of...
I'm pretty sure gay men didn't wear signs
yeah.
in the 60s.
Well,
Might
especially
be for
gay
the best.
black men.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So...
It's obviously been a really long time since I watched Family Matters. Did Urkel actually wear rainbow suspenders, or weren't they just red?
I
Probably
thought
both,
that-
let's be honest.
Well, you go carry on with your point, and there's going to be some Googling going on in the background.
So that scene where he's handcuffed in the bathroom with that white guy and they're both naked, is he actually established as gay, or was that just the police making him look like he was?
Oh, I think that's the established of his gay.
Yeah, but he also wears green ones and red ones.
Well, the character doesn't have to wear the same clothes in every single film.
But no, I wondered that because I thought it was just the police setting him up.
Right.
Because they set him up for everything else, right? So.
But Dr. Shirley does tell him that he didn't call him to go with him because he didn't want him to see him in that situation.
You know the first thing I
I
thought
did
of...
hear that line. I never put two and two together there. So
The first thing I thought of in that scene, because they make sure they shoot on the YMCA, I'm just like, oh, village people.
Oh, he did pick it up off the ground.
no, he totally did.
See, I missed this actual frame, and I thought, well, he wasn't lying. He picked it off the ground.
Yeah, but it had fallen out of the display.
But then but he picks it up, so he's considering it as not stealing, and the Russian right away is.
Oh, he knew right away he was stealing. But
the way he looks at it is he wasn't.
Right.
He was bullshitting, not lying. That's the way he looks at it,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
Yes.
I know it belongs in that booth, but it was on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? Where does he get the rock later on from?
Because he doesn't actually put it back.
Yeah, he does.
No, it
No,
looks
he
like
doesn't.
he makes it look like he does, but he doesn't actually put it back.
Oh,
That's
I never
obviously-
caught that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
If you actually watch this part, because he looks back, but he doesn't actually drop it into the box.
I didn't see that scene either. I just assumed, like, when he said, put the rock on the dash for luck, we need it. I just assumed he clearly feigned putting the rock back.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the doctor had the rock. And I
Rock.
think the doctor does have the rock at that scene, but I didn't realize...
No, he
that-
gives it to him, and then the doc has it.
Yeah, because right now he gives it to him, but when the doctor
back
turns
to him.
around and says, "Take your lucky rock out of your pocket and put it on the dash."
Yeah, that crowd is a snake. Is Russian, not a crowd?
But when they're just about to leave, his brother states that he's going to be back within 2 weeks because he's going to punch that mousey out.
Doesn't he? Sorry, going back to the Kraut thing. Doesn't he say at the beginning, "Oh, I think he's German," and it's like, no, it was Russian?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. So
He speaks. in
because
the
Kraut
language.
is a German insult. So
Yeah, and he said, I was in Germany.
see, like right there, you did not physically see him drop the
It was
rock out of his
blurry
hand.
and-
Yeah.
I kind of love that he didn't put the rock back.
But when he's coming back to the car too, you see him putting his hands in his pocket.
Actually, I did miss that, but it makes sense.
He took all the fun out of it. I'll
In the
help
end,
me
he
buy you
knows
a rug.
anyway.
It does make me want to go visit Indiana for half a second here.
For the
Well,
bell?
Yeah, that's a beautiful looking auditorium. Is that not?
I'm sure every state has a beautiful.
Except for that frickin' piano.
Right. But okay, so the Russian will rat him out for stealing a rock, but not for kicking the crap out of the caretaker for not having a Steinway.
I like this.
That was a good shot too. That frickin'
I know.
pop he
He
gave him.
doesn't kick the crap out of him. He gets like a nice open palm.
I think it was
It was
a side
a-
hand
Was
fist.
it a side?
It was-
What, coming up here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love this scene because all of a sudden now it's just like
he's standing up for him.
integrity.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it's in his contract to have a Steinway.
Yeah.
And there's only two in Indiana. Well, then you better get started now.
And there's garbage in it? Why is there garbage in the piano?
Well,
Because
that's
it's for a black
my
man, so
thought
they don't
too.
care.
Yeah.
See?
Frickin' Indian Annas.
Indian
Indiana's. Indiana's. And the other two in the trio are not kicking up a fuss like this either.
No.
You see how they're sitting in the back?
They're.
Do you think it's a test?
Kind of.
No, I think they're just too chicken shit to do anything.
Wow. This is why he got
They're
right.
white.
Minus.
They're right to be
They're
chicken.
white.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't have the
Well, yeah,
same
but that's-
thing. I mean,
Telling them to their boss, like that's.
if they were German, they'd probably have issues.
No, Jeff's right. It's an open hand slap.
On the ear, though. Your ear rings for hours after that.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had these kind of results. Open palm slapping a person before.
Maybe
Getting an expensive Steinway for me, definitely. not
Oh,
how it normally works.
you should see the new Roadhouse. It
Oh,
gives you a new take on slapping. It's a really good scene. He literally slaps these poor assholes. Just keep slapping
Oh,
them.
I did see that
It's actually
scene, yeah.
really good.
I didn't watch that big movie beginning to end, but I actually did enjoy it.
It is a great movie. It's just poorly titled.
Yeah, that's how you get eyes on it, though, right?
That's money, not art.
Well,
And
you're not wrong.
And to accept that is diminishing to the art.
would you have watched it if it wasn't called Roadhouse?
I would have absolutely watched it because I'm a Jake Gyllenhaal fan.
How did you say his last name?
Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal?
That's the proper pronunciation.
I refuse to admit to that. 'cause
It is.
I
I
don't
seen
like
it.
it.
I seen it in an interview.
An interval?
And he said the proper pronunciation is Gyllenhaal. But
I
Is
understand why
that
nobody
Dutch?
says
It
that.
sounds Dutch.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it is. It's like, yeah.
Kentucky.
And
Chicken.
that's why
Like
they
him.
get Kentucky Fried Chicken in Kentucky.
Which is funny, because didn't Kentucky Fried Chicken originate in Canada?
Yes.
No, it didn't.
I'm sure it did.
I swore I read that on a KFC thing.
That was Canadian propaganda on the thing about it.
All right,
it
Mike.
actually did start down south.
Where did Kentucky Fried Chicken originate?
I told my wife, or when this scene happens, when he sees the Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Louisville,
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Where did Boston Pizza originate? I thought that was Calgary.
No, Winnipeg.
That's Canadian though.
Winnipeg.
Boston pizza originated in what country?
Well, it's a good thing the podcast is
Alberta.
listen to us Google stuff.
Yeah.
Boston pizza.
He bought
64.
he bought a pizzeria in. No, he was stationed in Winnipeg, and it was Edmonton, the first one. Yeah, he's from Winnipeg. But my wife commented about how like, Jeff, that's you when you see Kentucky Fried Chicken. If we're ever in Kentucky, I'm like, damn fucking right.
Yeah. I did the same way, right?
But you know, this is the point too where they actually talk about Dr. Shirley's ex-wife, and he says, "Great person, terrible grammar. You'd quite like her." And then it goes on to say that her name is June, and Vigo's character turns around and goes, "June, like Lassie's mom?"
I didn't know whose Lassie's mom was.
Neither did I.
I didn't know Lassie had a mom. I just knew it was a dog.
This does make me want to go get.
I mean,
KFC
Lassie
too.
is before my time. I was a little solo guy.
And then he's telling him to eat the damn chicken, and he can't because his blanket might get dirty.
I'm just saying that piece in his hand looks so goddamn good.
Right? I think he won't eat the chicken because it's a stereotype that black people like fried chicken, right? Like,
But he'd
Yeah.
never had it before.
yeah, so how do you, like, it's like the most delicious
Oh,
thing in
and
the
that
world.
stupid dinner scene. Oh, that pissed me off.
Where they
Oh,
give
we
him
got
fried
our
chicken.
servants to pick your best meal or whatever.
Oh,
fried chicken. I was
We
like,
asked
oh,
our
that
servants
pissed me
what
off.
they thought
Oh.
he might like.
But luckily, he had already had it at this point, so he was okay with it. But that's not the point. Again, the racism in this movie, and it's supposed to be, but it's so painful and so jarring and so... It makes you cry almost that that's what life was like.
Commentary of the 60s.
Yeah.
I do appreciate how this isn't racist, him forcing it, because this could have easily delved into like, oh, I'm being racist. You have to try this because you're black. He's just like, you have to try this because it's delicious.
Although he did say it is the food of your people.
I gotta say though, racism or prejudice requires intent for it to be negative and in that. Like if you're ignorant and you don't know any better,
Clap your hands.
you're not being racist. You're being ignorant. Which is different.
And I've said this before, my problem is I am disgustingly prejudiced. And I don't like it, but I am. I'm not racist, and I think everybody is a person, and that's what pissed me off about this movie with the racism and everything. I'm not racist, but I find myself to be disgustingly prejudiced. And I try to work on it, but it's an issue with me.
I don't know. What do you mean by prejudice?
Well,
Is this really something we want to get into the podcast before we delve too deep here?
Not.
to be continued.
Yeah.
I just don't want to set a bad vibe for Corey because I think Corey's a pretty decent human being, and I think the interpretation of stuff can be. But he's working on it. Good
But
for
I'm
you,
working
Corey.
on it.
Well,
Anyway.
people are going to interpret it any way that they want to interpret it.
Yeah.
No matter how you explain it, that's the thing. But there is a clear line between being racist and anything else.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry. I love the scene. He's like, "What do you do with the bones? Throw them out the window." He throws his cup out, makes him stop, pick it up. This was the funniest scene in the entire movie.
So,
the green agenda. I'm sorry.
is there a clear-cut line of what's racism and is not? Because I feel like there isn't.
No, there isn't. There absolutely isn't a clear cut. And I had this discussion with somebody, and when I went to school, there's 2 black kids in Rocky. I never looked at them as anything other than dark-skinned human beings.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but one of them got into a fight with me and my brother, and we had, and my brother called him a racial slur. And it's just like, he didn't call him a racial slur because he was racist. He called him that because he knew it pissed him off because he was throwing fists. Just like in the 80s, we would use the derogatory fag and stuff like that. We didn't use it because it meant anything. We used it because it knew it pissed you off.
But fag does mean something.
Cigarette.
When you're in England.
Yeah. I mean,
The only place you can say, "Can I bum a fag?" and still be straight.
I mean, we can all go back and say we take offense, but that means this and that means that. But in all honesty, 9 times out of 10, it was more about the other person, not the derogatory term. Yes.
I got a dear friend of mine. I nicknamed him my heavyset life partner. Danny, I know you're not listening, but I love you, brother. And as you guys all know here at the table, I'm a short person, and I've heard short jokes my whole life.
You gotta hand it to Jeff.
Yeah, because I can't reach
it.
Yeah, I've never heard that one before. Never heard that one before.
See, most of mine are physical, so I can't say the jokes that I always tell them. So
Yeah, no.
Actually, I said that once before on a podcast, but it got muddled over. But anyway, sorry.
So I endear jokes like that. Now, me and Danny will sometimes we'll barb with jokes like that, and you fucking brown kid, you're getting me pulled over all the time, right? And he had a nickname back in high school, Peanut, and I didn't realize till much later on that he actually took offense to it, right? The first calzone.
that's how you eat a pizza.
Yeah.
So,
And you missed the rock.
you missed the Rock. This scene when he's folding the pizza in half, the Rock is sitting on the next
Oh,
down.
is it?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
They had a close up of that.
For years, the jokes at his expense for the color of his skin was just because we joked back and forth. You don't know what's bugging him underneath. That's, it would be the same if I let every short joke bother me. Is how I felt the way we'd make those jokes, right?
That's very big of you, Jeff.
Yeah, it's very, very big of me. I could say that people that make short jokes are prejudiced against short people.
I am.
Yeah.
I just don't like them.
What, short people or
Yeah.
short jokes? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
this
will
is-
never make fun of someone's weight. I will make fun of everything else on a person, but never their weight. I don't know why.
This is a terrible scene here.
Oh, frickin' hell yeah.
It's brilliant,
Well, of
but
course.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's brilliantly terrible.
He actually had a gun, though.
But he actually... Does he actually have a gun at
Yes.
this point?
Oh, at this point, I don't know, but I assume he does.
I didn't think he does at this point.
You don't see him get one.
Yeah,
I don't remember where he picked one. He may have left it in the hotel room.
Maybe.
Who knows, but
He's probably got a gun the entire time.
Probably.
I mean,
He's getting into a car with a black man and everything.
you've got an Italian accent, and you're down there. I mean, okay, so who wins? The boy playing the background banjo in the background, or the Italian who's
No.
Look at the fear on the face of the cello player, though, when he reaches behind. I think he does have a gun in this scene. Because the cello player is just like, holy fuck, he's packing. Like, you can see it on his face,
But
right?
it's the fact that at this point, too, the cello player actually trusts him enough to go get him.
Well, the cello player knows that he can't do what he can do, right?
Yeah, like I said, they're chicken. They'll hide behind things.
Mm-hmm.
They did it in the stadium with the wrong piano. They did it here. Like, he hides behind. He wants to be tough, but he can't.
You know, you feel so... You don't realize how lonely Dr. Shirley is up until this point in the movie. This is where you really see, wow, he doesn't belong in either world, right?
Yeah.
You know, too high class to hang out with the colored people of the time, and too colored to hang out with the high class people. Like, it was just a very sad and lonely life.
I think it gets amplified too when he gets caught by the cops and handcuffed. I mean, you're not only hurdled by one aspect of your life, but two, but three. You know, it's a terrible thing. Yeah.
And then being down there too, he has to make a phone call that he never wanted to make.
Yeah.
To Bobby Kennedy.
That's like that might be my favorite scene where the
The
racist
cops are in,
cop-
like, back step back.
yeah, the racist
backpedal.
cops are just like, get him out, get him out.
But he hit me.
Yeah, he hit me, but no, mine's Vigo in the car afterwards. Bobby fucking Kennedy.
I'm trying to think. What other movies has Dr. Shirley been in? The actor, not the character.
He was in. He was the villain in Luke Cage. I don't know if you did watch it, but he was the villain in Luke Cage.
I really liked him in Luke Cage.
Cottonmouth.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He was much better than the second season villain. Much better.
Yeah.
Or the villain that replaced him in that show, right? So.
See, and I don't know if anybody actually noticed, but by this point, when he goes into this concert after rescuing Dr. Shirley, Vigo's appearance has changed. Or Tony's appearance is starting to change.
You can see the softening, which is
And he's not wearing the tux anymore.
which is a testament to Vigo, the actor. You know.
But he does. Dr. Shirley does put on another tux.
Yeah. Well, and they make that comment about that. It's like, why do you have to always dress like that? And
Yeah.
When you look at actors and you I don't know how you want to criticize or judge or view, but look at it's quite often your acting is so nuanced in movies, and it's not what you're doing while you're delivering lines. It's how you're reacting to something, to this and that. And I mean, Vigo never stops performing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like in between scenes.
Well, and even at this point here where he's adding water to the radiator, Dr. Shirley gets out, and you've got all of the plantation workers in the field, and they're all staring
Yeah,
at
that's
like, what
heartbreaking
the-
right there, too. It's like he's made it and we haven't type
Yeah.
thing.
Or is it inspirational? This is what we could do.
Well, they look upset more than they do look happy, so...
You know, a human behaviors dictate that generally you don't look up as aspiring to people like that. You look up in envy and hate for people like that. That's what we do, right? Like,
Yeah, see, like, they're not happy. Look at them.
Yeah.
Hand in the hip.
yeah.
Yeah.
What did he do to deserve that I didn't do? That's how, and that.
I disagree. Maybe human nature it is. I look at people and think, can I do that? Can I go where they're
Challenge
going?
accepted.
And I think that's a what?
Challenge
accepted, yeah.
Well, I mean, and I think that's a mindset that people put themselves into. It's like, how dare they have what I don't? Or how can I get what they have?
I see enough of it. Like right now, I'm working with a very dynamic group of people, and it's not for everybody, but you definitely see people are just like, why does that person here and I'm here? And you see a lot of jealousy and stuff like that. And you know, there's exceptions. Look at the way millionaires are viewed now. A lot of people despise millionaires. Look at the stuff that's
Well,
going
that's because
on.
they talk.
Well,
And it makes it clear what they do.
or is it because we're jealous of what they have and we just don't admit that?
No. Like, I can look at somebody who has achieved greatness, and want to aspire to be them and work them. It's just like reality shows. Villains are not made on the show. It's made in the diary rooms. When you're a dick and an asshole, yeah, that's where they're come. I think I've seen a lot of this. A lot of people just want to live in the status quo. I don't want to work hard to get where I want to be. I just want to be comfortable. I want to be happy. And then I get jealous or not me, but... And what world are we talking? Like, theater is a very different world than blue-collar shovels and whatever, or machining or wherever. Right? You know, I mean...
See that look in his face right there? That's where he's like, that's uncomfortable and okay.
Right?
Yeah.
See, and, like, this part hits a chord, but it's when he goes to use the washroom.
Oh,
that it just
fuck, I hate that
pisses
part.
you off.
Yeah.
I love that he made them wait for him.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking drive a half hour out of my way to use my washroom, because fuck you, I'm not using that outhouse.
Yep.
And I'm with Tony Lip. I would have just fucking pissed in the woods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that mentions about what kind of principle each person has, right? What's the moral or principle code that we're all different. We all have our different codes, our different levels in which we live by. And he's trying to change the world and change himself. In this dynamic, Dr. Shirley, I mean, that's all his goal is, about making the world different. I don't think this isn't about, I have to go beneath there. I think it's more about, I need you to make me do this, or allow me to do this, to change it, and it goes with the dinner too. That's what I think.
Well, he's trying to change the society down south.
The system,
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, this was 62, right?
Yes.
Kennedy became president in 62, and he was assassinated in November of 62. Or 63, sorry.
I feel like those are inaccurate numbers.
He was assassinated in 63.
Yeah.
11/22/63.
Yep.
What's it called? So, like, because Kennedy was one of the few, like, the people who started accepting more, and that was right around the time of what's his name, Malcolm and everything. So.
Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Malcolm X and the other guy, Martin Luther King.
Okay, yeah.
They only have a holiday named after him. No big deal.
So, like, this all happened within years of each other. So, I mean, again, the fact this is based on a true story, you got to wonder if maybe he did help turn the tide in his own little way.
See, well, and even at this point, so they're headed back to the hotel to use the washroom, and Tony's pissed.
Yeah.
But it's more because of the fact that they're driving out of the way to go use the washroom, and Dr. Shirley has, as he says it, those hillbilly pricks do that to him.
Yeah. So has Tony made the turn?
He's starting to.
He's in process.
He's still in transition
at this point. He's out there having a smoke with the others and
it's not a hard turn in this movie. Like, there's not like a.
Nothing.
Sometimes in movies you'll see like, oh, snap of the fingers.
It's not like a Christmas Carol ending.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a very slow climb to that turn.
And I appreciate that because, it drives me nuts the switch of character so drastically in movies. He is who he is to this whole, and it's just little increments, it's nothing ever major.
But it's little increments over the span of 3 months?
Yeah.
2 months.
2 months? 2 months.
Yeah.
Which is pretty dramatic, sharp turn in the grand scale of your life.
But it's not. His behavior is never a grand, drastic change.
There's
right?
never one grand lesson that people change their
I think the
personality.
scene where he's standing, Vigo's standing outside with the other black butlers there, and he's watching him play for the first time, and that look on his face, like, wow, this man has talent, and he's amazing, and his face contorted just enough so you could see something at that point started to snap. Like, it wasn't obviously, like we said, a 180, but it was at that point where I think he started the turnaround.
Two T's and bullshit. I didn't know how to properly write bullshitter before today.
I think there's a lot of things you didn't know how to write before today.
Oh, is that an assumption of who I am?
Hey,
Are you stereotyping me?
I am very clearly
Hey.
a bad speller, but I am very happy I know you now because I'm now not the worst speller I am.
I am not a bad speller. I'm a bad texter.
I was gonna say, in all fairness, I haven't seen a handwritten note from Jeff,
Yeah.
so I'll be on his side for texting.
But if you and
But it
Amy,
is painful.
Why no?
But if you and Amy can stereotype me as being only horror, I can stereotype you
I-
as being a
That's
really
my-
bad
that's my-
spammer.
Totally misheard you.
My
Holy
wife.
shit.
I said horror, not whore.
Wow!
I heard what you heard, Corey.
Horror,
I'm
not
like,
whore.
I've known you this long, and
First
never-
off,
I'm
not
good
gonna
at hiding it, aren't
I did not
still a little left
stereotype
out, not
you.
gonna lie. So.
I did not stereotype you. Amy stereotyped
And
you.
you agreed.
No, I did not say at any point I agree. I just laughed
agree.
at the comment of hers.
And said,
Amy?
what the fuck?
Amy, listen to this and find one of our platforms and comment on it because I feel like Jeff is hiding
likeliest
under
scenario.
your skirt right now.
I think sometimes you guys read stuff that's not there.
Well,
The
if your
stuff that you
flip
told
phone
us.
typed better, we
I
wouldn't
s-
misread it.
So what did I type that led you to believe that I said something like that?
Amy and I were watching the movie and something about horror movies.
Ah,
and
so you didn't read it properly.
That was
Oh,
like
I
hours
very
ago.
clearly. You very clearly stated that Amy was shocked that this was
That was my
a
pick.
Laura
Yeah,
pick,
yes.
but yet you're the one that blasted it on the internet.
Well, I
You're
thought
right.
so
I
therefore,
because I thought it was funny. So
Oh, poetry's coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watching Green Book, and the wife is confused because Laura picked it and there's no demons or serial killers. LOL. She's starting to think it's not even a horror movie at all.
Only starting to
And
think?
I end quote.
I clearly see in that quote where I thought that as well. Clearly.
You typed it there for you. Agreed
Oh
with her.
yeah, sure.
hence the issue with texting comments without subtext.
Right?
See, and like we made the comment about stereotyping Laura there, and I said, but it's so fun because that is me. I will 100% stereotype until the day I die.
Won't let him try the suit.
Oh
in the
fuck!
window.
Another scene that just grated on
He
me.
has to buy it and we'll tailor it for him.
Wait, you there is some socioeconomic expectations when you see a person like that come in that time period, right? So
But look what he's wearing already.
you don't know where he got that from. Maybe he got it from a thrift store, right? So maybe this is every dollar he ever spent, and that's a stereotype of the Deep South. Oh my god, I thought that was Steve Buscemi.
I know,
for a
right?
second.
I was gonna say the same.
Smile.
Under-eye bags.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the same nose, right?
And the lips.
Yeah.
The lips are totally.
Maybe
Yeah.
they're related.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe it's Doug Buscemi, right?
Yeah.
Steve's brother. Oh. Why is he shocked at this by this point, though? Like, why are you surprised that there's racism in the South? Like,
Well, he's not. The doctor's not shocked. He thought he made the step towards there and it's like, shit, they caught me. It's a C. And hightails it out of it.
But it's Tony at this point because you can tell that he wants to say something.
well,
It was almost a gift from Tony.
Have
Yeah,
you
Like,
noticed?
you should get this.
Have you noticed that after every one of those racial interactions, and they show him playing next, he's got more fire in his eyes?
Yeah.
well, I notice his eyes are closed while playing.
Well, not literally, but he's got a fervor to him.
And
Like
it's-
he's got.
Oh, he's
Like,
playing
it's the
with
way-
much more intensity.
Yeah.
And he's going
So-
to town with
He's crying at this point.
it.
But again, though, especially considering that big speech that coming up here soon, it is a little surprising that he's upset because he said, "Oh, I faced it my whole life," so it shouldn't be surprising.
Well, He's faced it to a point.
I think he
whole life.
snapped.
Okay,
So,
stupid little comment. You seen him jumble the phone?
uh-huh.
You think he intended to do that? No.
No.
There's many movies.
But it was real.
What
So
movie
we
did
kept
I
it-
watch where the
see,
guy walked into a room and he
YMCA.
tripped? And
Yeah.
there was a movie I watched where a guy walked into the room and tripped, and then literally stood up again. I'm like, I guarantee that was not on purpose.
Yeah.
But they kept it.
Which movie?
I can't remember now.
You know, why don't YMCA's look like this anymore? Like,
Is it?
I'm pretty sure the one in Edmonton still does.
Here,
Except for
one
that.
is marble and the fountains?
Oh, yeah.
So,
I don't know,
okay, at
anyway.
this point here, too, Dr. Shirley's the only one who's handcuffed to the pipe, and he's had the shit beat out of him, but that cop is clearly.
See, I found
Yeah,
this a very
the white-
interesting
the-
scene.
The white guy's handcuffed too.
Not to the pipe.
What's he
Wow.
handcuffed to then?
His hands are just handcuffed together.
We clearly taking a step away from racism in this because we got a black cop.
Yes.
But I found this very, very, very interesting in this dynamic. It's just like we've been pushing the racism so far. Now this is the first time we step into the homophobic world, and it doesn't faze him. None, you know, like Tony.
Well,
It doesn't faze him one
Speaking
bit.
of stereotyping, back in the day, wasn't YMCA kind of synonymous with gay things too? Not talking about the music, but like
Yes.
the actual location.
I don't know. I never thought about that.
Anyway.
I thought that was why
The Village People did
that
it.
was a thing. Like
It could have been after the fact.
no. The musicians made the play off of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why the song existed in a flamboyant group like that. Was because of the well known that the YMCA was for that kind of crowd, right? Or had cultivated that culture.
I love his clothing is always wrinkle free.
It's like not very wrinkled right now.
See, and I think the only thing that really gets me throughout all of this is Dr. Shirley constantly criticizing Tony for doing whatever he has to do to get him out of those situations.
Well, I give him a pass.
Well, that's what this argument is about.
Yeah.
I give him a pass because he doesn't want, like, when they do the scene where he's kicked out of the one restaurant and walks out, or not the one restaurant, but the one country club. You know, he wants it to be the right way. Buying someone is not the right way, right? Like,
Well,
he
again,
wants
it's
everything
his,
to be on
it's
the
his
level.
standards, it's his ethics, it's his principles, it's his...
Alright.
But I understand where Tony's coming from at this point, too, because he feels like Dr. Shirley's being extremely ungrateful.
Yeah.
But it's because that's the only way that... I always forget his name too, but Vigo knows.
Tony.
Right. I just slipped me. Anyway, that's all he knows how to stand up for someone is to resort to violence.
Tony's up there fixing the hopper with a bucket
Getting it done.
with a duct tape, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the doctor's sitting there calling in a mechanic. That's the difference between the two of them.
So, according to Reddit on Google,
Most reliable.
Reddit's
the
reliable.
village people are mocking the YMCA. They're saying the Anti-Gay Christian Association is actually super gay. That's why the song is about kind of tongue-in-cheek. So the YMCA is a Christian organization. And so that's where that comes from.
Yeah, because it was synonymous with gay culture, but it wasn't.
Well,
I didn't know about the Christian
No,
part.
the YMCA was not synonymous with gay culture.
Which sounds like
That's why they were mocking it, because it was Christian.
I thought you said that there was that element, but it was suppressed.
They're saying the Anti-Gay Christian Association is actually super gay. That's the song. That's the mocking element of the song.
When you say super gay, I'm assuming because there's an underbelly of it.
That's not assuming properly, because I'm not giving any information. They are mocking the YMCA, which
For being
means
Christian.
usually it's something it's not, and they're making fun of it for being
They
the opposite.
think they
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So the YMCA is not known for being gay, but the song made it seem that way. That's what this says.
So maybe that's where my knowledge came from.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
Like the mocking of the song the organization. Young Man's Christian Association.
It's really good makeup, by the
I
way.
think there's
Like,
a
it's a perfect
YWCA
match.
as well.
Right. But even at this point, like, hurrying up the bruise and he's going through everything, he's crying. You can tell it's getting to
he
him.
literally was starting to drip there. So
Yeah.
Did you guys think Tony was going to take these guys off her?
I did, actually. The first time I watched it, I thought that he was going to.
this scene alone, where then what's his name, Dr.
Dr.
Shirley.
Shirley.
I'm really good at this. I swear.
Wait, we're going to start a drinking game where every time you know, it's like, oh, what's his name?
Anyway,
I did it
what's
for
it
the
called?
first
When
half.
he talks to him in Italian, I'm like, nice, like that. And I guarantee, because the whole fact that he was talking in those other languages before, I knew he understood Italian.
Yep.
So
Tony didn't say anything egregious, though, that was damning of his character.
no, he
in
came
account.
close. He came close,
He did,
but
he kept saying to you, like, I'm working for him, I'm working here, I gotta go, I gotta... Like, he was trying to get out of that situation.
but then he looked like he was going to humor it. So
What do you think? What is Dr. Shirley's emotions in this moment? Is he begging? Is it hurt? Is that what you think this
Yes.
is?
It's hurt.
I feel.
You don't think this is desperation? Like he thinks that he's going to lose?
It's a little bit of both, but it's primarily hurt.
I think the connection has been made. I think Dr. Shirley is much more attentive to personality type emotions, and I think he sees that there's something there and problems. I don't think it's desperation. I don't feel that at all.
Well, I think, and I could be wrong, I think where the desperation, where it feels like desperation, where he goes, you know, before you take that offer, take into consideration, I'll double what you're making.
Yeah, I know it can seem that way. I think my heart wants to look at the more emotional side of these characters, and I feel like the connection's there. They just haven't announced it to each other.
Yep. See, and this is where he brings up his mother.
See, I also feel like there's a lot of fear, not hurt, in that moment. He's fear of losing this friend that he's.
Oh
made.
yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
And that's where the desperation to not lose it.
I don't think there's fear in losing any kind of protective guardianship or anything like that.
No,
There's a fear of losing a friend potentially. Yes.
Well, a friendship that's growing. It's starting to grow and blossom.
This is the first truly friend moment in the movie.
it's the most conversationist conversation they have.
Yeah. Where it's no longer between employer and employee, right? As far as Tony's been trying this whole time, right? And Dr. Shirley's finally let his guard down. And it took the realization that he might lose Tony before he let that guard down.
Yes. And, well, and like you said, so now they're actually having a real conversation. Tony's actually learning about Dr. Shirley.
I just caught that line. He says, sets a glass of whiskey down the piano.
You didn't catch that the first time.
Well, I seen the relevance in the whiskey later on, but I didn't catch the line, the dialogue in here, the reference to the story. So I felt that was very interesting.
I think we gotta go take a small commercial break here, guys. So we'll be right back. And we're back again against the commercial break. I said against. It's
Against all odds.
Against old odds, we're back.
Old odds or all odds?
All odds, just like the movie.
Did you guys know what a sundown town was till this
I
movie?
think so. I think I heard it when I was a kid, which makes sense because obviously back more. But
yeah, because you're old.
yeah, right. So
Yeah, Corey.
I remember it being referenced in like school and that, but
in my entire adulthood, which again has only been like 20 some odd years, but either way, I've never heard it. So
I'm the only one that admired that beautiful yellow fire hydrant there. That was a Brigadier, beautiful fire hydrant.
wow.
Oh my god, I love this. We didn't talk about it in the beginning where he covers the fire hydrant with the trash can, so he always has a parking spot.
you know it's illegal.
Yeah, it'd be like otherwise you got to park like 8 feet away from the curb, which is also illegal. Do you know anybody that does that? I know somebody
Definitely
that
not
does it.
8 feet.
I'm pretty sure that one day it was 8 feet.
You should have measured that.
In the Bronx, no. Out here, Jeff does it all the time.
Yeah, I work for the city. I do what I want.
We just passed arguably the most powerful moment in this movie. At least it
There
was
is no
for me.
argument from me.
No.
And it was just this whole idea that he's not black enough for the black people, not white enough for the white people,
And
not
he's
man
not
enough for the man people. And
Who the
where
hell
does he
am I?
belong in this
Yeah.
world? You know, and it was and delivered so beautifully.
And-
You know, thank God it was raining so we couldn't see the tears.
But you know, like,
It's raining in here too.
But I love this.
Yeah,
This
it's really hard in
this-
the podcast room.
like
This validation, this subtle, nuanced validation of a smile he gave to Tony, that's perfect, you know?
but you know, at that point too, like Corey said, that is the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
That one point, and that is, we've been talking the whole time, where's the turning point for Tony?
Yeah.
That is the turning point.
We do have to back up a little bit past that because we also went over the Bobby Kennedy scene.
Yes.
Very powerful scene where he doesn't want to drag himself down to that level to make that call, even though he knows he has it in his back pocket to do, right?
And that's the scene that leads to that
See-
climax.
Maybe I missed something there, and I love the fact that he knows Bobby Kennedy. And I get that. Did they ever explain how?
Well, considering he's been at the White House twice in the last 14 months.
And they
Yeah,
established that.
I think...
Is JFK in...
He should be.
Yeah,
At
that
this
timeline
point-
Yeah.
checks out.
Because I'm pretty sure he became president in 62, so... And
So
this was 62,
that makes sense, actually.
So. Yeah. Bobby was still a governor, but...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, and this is where they bring up the tits in Pittsburgh.
No, it's on the way home.
No, he just said
Just
it right
said it.
there.
They-
You know, there's something that's been bothering me this whole trip.
I thought that was at the end. I didn't see
Nope.
it here. Yeah, that scene in the car in the rain, that's so powerful, right?
Yeah.
Like, who am I? Where do I belong? And Tony
I-
knows exactly who he is.
I feel that... that was... I mean, Tony... Yeah, I'm just trying to break down, like, Tony does know who he is, but he doesn't realize how he is, if that makes sense. I mean, he's starting to recognize his past thoughts. Oh, there's that classic douchebag. He always plays some nerdy douchebag, that guy.
Yeah, and there's your
There's your
dressing room.
changing room.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
storage
Sorry.
room. It's a closet.
Sidebar. Yeah. No, I just,
He's got a small Weasley face. He just looks like a douchebag.
yeah.
That's why he always gets the douchebag roles.
I can't believe he accepts this room. I thought this was going to be the point that broke him here.
Well, it's
It's
right
the
after this.
start
Yeah.
of what breaks him.
Yeah.
You can only push so far.
And
So hard.
you know, the whole we'll bring you dinner and I am not eating in that.
Storage room. He
Well,
says the word storage
storage
room.
room.
So.
And
Yeah.
the way the host tries to justify it.
Yeah. Oh, it's just how it's always been.
Like, how terrible to, like, not change things, right? Because just because it's the way it's always been doesn't mean it's right. We have traditions here. You were saying off the air about...
And
trying to
this is
break
a
through
perfect
traditions.
example, you know, why I think traditions can be killing society.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, not all of them, obviously, and everybody has their different view, but this is one of them. You get hung up on traditions, just like Tony, and I mentioned it at the beginning. He doesn't realize he's racist for any other reason. It's just what he was taught.
It's
What it is.
ingrained.
And now he realizes that, oh my God, you talk to a black person. They have thoughts and emotions and feelings like everybody else.
Oh, this story about... who was it? Was it
Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole attacking him on stage, right? And you know, you think of Nat King Cole, he's a legend, right? Like, you don't think of what he endured in the time that he was an artist.
Well, and even at this point too, like, because it's the Russian telling him what's going through everything, and he actually states, because it's the last concert, the Cold War's over, it's time for a truce, and now he's actually telling him everything.
Yeah.
I think the Cold War is still on this. It kind of bugged me.
Cold War ended
hasn't
in
started
90.
yet.
I know.
Yeah.
The Cold War hasn't started
No,
yet.
because that didn't start until after the Cuban
Till
Missile
the Cuban
Crisis, which was 69.
69,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, but he's Russian, and as far as he's concerned, it's a Cold War.
Well,
So we've got one continuity error in this movie.
I don't think it's a continuity error. I think it's still a perception. Right?
do they say
What?
the
I mean,
words
Cold
Cold
War
War?
He
seems-
did say Cold War. He
Okay.
said
Cold
Cold
War
War's
seems-
over.
Cold War seems like a weird terminology if it's not.
Well, we've attached Cold War to that era, but the Cold War could be something very different. I mean, Russia was the allies in World War II to U.S., and I'm sure the Cold War kind of was this subtle brewing thing.
Do you think? So he says it's up to Tony here.
Yes.
Why do you think he gave it to Tony?
To see what choice he'd make.
Do you think he would have abandoned Tony if he made the wrong choice, or do you think he would have honored Tony's choices?
I think he would have honored whatever Tony said. It's almost like it was a test at this point.
Well, that's what I felt like too. It's just like it's like he believes that there's a true friendship there, the true bond, and he's giving him that opportunity. It's up to you. You've been doing what I've been saying all along. I'll allow you to choose.
But at least now they get to have Orange Bird.
I don't know if I want to eat an orange bird.
I totally want to eat at the Greasy Spoons.
Well, I love. Don't get me wrong. I love a good greasy spoon, but there's a. I think if a food. What's the term I'm looking for? A health inspector was to go to the Orange Bird, like, a little cigarette ash in your bird.
I would definitely feel really white going in that place.
Wow, that's true too.
Because when they go into that place, this time it was Tony getting looked at with looks because he was the white guy in the black bar.
I almost feel. It almost feels off-putting. This is about. We talked about how this movie doesn't really have any scenes that take you out of it. The one thing that might have taken me out of it a little bit is when Tony's sitting at the Orange Bird, gets comfortable. Like, and I get why he's comfortable, but it took me out a little bit because I feel like he should have been more uncomfortable in that setting, and the people around him should have been more uncomfortable.
Especially when he
with
said
him.
he's not black enough to be black.
See, and I didn't see that at all because the character, the confidence Tony has. Even if Tony's scared, he's going to go in with confidence. That's what you do. And that's how I read that.
You do see the small sight of fear when he first goes into there too.
Yeah, you do.
You are
you
correct.
Do. You totally do.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good exchange. Oh, let me tell you a story. Fuck off, buddy.
Yeah.
You're
Boston Celtics come, but the black guy didn't get to eat there. Just the rest of the team.
yeah. They
Of
terrible.
course, back in the day, basketball was predominantly white. So
When did it become the switch over?
after segregation,
Which
Was it the 70s or the 80s?
like end of the 60s.
end of the 60s?
yeah.
So we're pushing on that.
Yeah.
Oh, have you heard? Interesting little note. I can't remember. Maybe you have heard it on a sports note. Apparently, they're allowing the American Negro League to be into the stats for the Hall of Fame for baseball. So now that throws all the world records and stuff off kilter. And there's
Really?
a bunch of people that are kind of perturbed. Have you heard anything about
I
this?
think I heard of it, but I just passed it by because I couldn't care less. Like,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
they
it
want
was-
to be in it, great, good for them. But I don't think it should affect the records. I think that's terrible. But
Well, there's records that were in that league that weren't counted in the real
where
world.
the standards, like in the MLB, there's only certain kind of bats you can use. There's only
Yeah.
certain kind of. Did they have those rules? Probably not.
I don't know.
So,
but it's very
Like
interesting.
cork in the bat, you couldn't do cork in the bat back, right? You couldn't have the,
Yeah.
you couldn't tar the handles. You couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just one of those interesting things that kind of sparked up.
See,
Sure, Steinway from Atlanta for you.
this was a big scene for me too, where Tony gets into the argument with the maitre d'.
But Tony's given up money to do this for his friend, right?
Yeah.
Money's important to him.
But he actually says it because the guy's like, I'll pay you to talk some sense into him, and you really think I can be bought? And when he actually pulls out the to have a job like
Yeah,
this,
there's
you must
that
be desperate.
uncomfortable look. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's
He
okay.
walks into the Orange Bird and he's clearly and visibly uncomfortable.
But if you look, though, the stares are not coming to Shirley. It's coming to Vigo because
Well,
he's the white guy.
It's hard to tell who's getting stared at right now, to be honest. Because it's probably both of them. Like, what's
It's
this?
probably both, absolutely.
Except for
but-
at the one point when they walked by and the one
Yeah,
lady and the
On that note, when she walked in, she gave the side eye to Dr. Shirley, not to Vigo. What are you doing here with him?
right.
Look how comfortable he is already. That's the one lone thing that bugs me. And I understand, like, it's the character.
How do you get comfortable out of that? He's lighting a cigarette.
That's him. He lights a cigarette in every scene.
That's
It
what you
is-
do when you're stressed as a smoker. Let's
But
get that going.
It's in a way it's his stance too. Like he's watching everything that Dr. Shirley does.
It does look like a good plate of bird.
That looks like a very greasy plate of bird.
Yes,
I'm
which is
guessing
why it
that's
looks good.
Citrusy sauce, honey sauce on that bird.
It doesn't look very hygienic.
I would be sick. Just sick.
We can't promise that they're chicken. They just said bird.
It could be duck.
It's fucking pigeon.
It's possible.
She reminds me of a mixture of Tempest Bledsoe from The Cosby Show and Gabriel Union. Jeez.
Who the fuck do you know names like that?
Anyway,
Super hyper fixation.
Side
either way,
note.
she's really attractive. Either way, so
That's why he knows the names.
That red, blue, and green shirt does not do it for me.
no, the shirt. I just looking at the face.
I didn't think he was going. So is he? I tried to figure out what Dr. Shirley's doing in this scene. He's going up to play the piano here at the Orange Bird. And is he... I thought at first, he's stooping down to a level that he thinks he's above. But he really embraces it. What do you guys think is going through his head in this scene?
I think exactly what you said. He came in thinking, see, that's hilarious. He didn't want to be that guy. But anyway,
Yeah.
he definitely at first he's like, this is so beneath me, and then all of a sudden he gets into it, and it's so.
I don't know if I agree with that. I understand why you say that. I think he's setting it up.
Well,
He's setting up to get into the rhythm. He is now in a place where he thinks he can fit, or he can bring into that. I think he's set up. He says, I'm going to go to that, and I'm going to show him what a good time is.
well, and
That I can do it.
Well, and there's that. And I can agree with that. Like, it is a setup for Tony's character at that point. But the whole thing too, like she's asking, the bartender's asking, "What are you doing here, darling, all dressed up?" And it's Tony who says he's the best piano player in the world.
Yeah, Tony.
Well, yeah, no, I
hypes him
know,
up
that's-
fierce.
I almost feel like he wants to show, this crowd, okay, we can be elevated. I almost think that's what he wants to do. I'm going to play some classical, beautiful piano.
That smile sells it.
Yeah.
At the end.
It's a nervous smile, yet it's authentic at the same time.
The
right?
musicians that acknowledge we get it.
Yeah.
Now
You
fit
can tell-
in with us.
Now he's playing blues.
Oh man, he's so good. Too.
But you had to tell. You could tell he had to get the feel and the tempo for it before he could play it.
Why do you think he accepts a non-Steinway?
Because he's black enough, he's man enough, and he fits in.
And doggone it, people like
And
him.
Pete Gunn.
He's gonna force that fucking rich person to get that piano I want, even though it doesn't
The
actually
Stein-
matter.
The Steinway was a way to stick it to them.
Yep.
It's just the green M&Ms.
Yep.
What's his name? They only did it to make sure that they lived by the rider.
That's how you know.
And
you
that's
got high
kind of the
quality.
same thing. The Steinway is just if you're gonna belittle me, then you're gonna play.
There are
the
so many stupid goddamn riders out
I
there
know
too.
there is.
Oh, do you have a lot to deal with?
No, I don't.
We do.
I did.
We get
I didn't personally, but I saw some of them when I worked at the casino and we had bands come in. I can't, now that I've been put on the spot, I can't think of one. But they were so crazy, some of them.
We get a lot of bands that come in. They require specific beers, a specific bottle, and they want these candies and that. I mean, nothing's been outrageous like green M&Ms or anything like that. But
See, and even at this point here, like they're leaving the bar, and he actually says that he does that once a month for free.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, he literally does have a gun the whole
Right.
time. And
he
he was
pulled-
eyeing up that guy. I was expecting a heartbreak scene.
Yeah.
Like I thought one of these two was getting stabbed.
Well, a legitimate robbery, like mugging, not
yeah,
scaring them off before anything happens.
I actually glad they didn't go for that emotional gut punch with one of them getting beat up or something. This movie didn't need it.
No.
You know, it's an emotional thing that a lot of movies will lean on, and effectively, but it didn't need it to be emotional.
there's too much already going on for it to need to go there.
This bothers me a little because they're driving in rain in the winter. See, it turns to snow, but
They're in the South.
I guess. Yeah, I
North.
guess.
Have you never been to?
Florida?
Tell you a small story. First Christmas me and my wife ever spent together, we drove out to BC, and I was shocked. I come down off of the Coca-Cola down to Hope, BC, and it's raining, not a snow. And as a farm boy from Alberta, it was the wildest thing I ever seen. Like, it's fucking raining. She's just like, yeah. It's Christmas. And she's just like, yeah.
Sorry.
Because I'm not.
How much have you left Alberta?
Oh,
Prior to the last-
Lots now, but not during Christmas time. Christmas time's for family, right?
P.S. The scene, I'm sorry this is completely off topic, but the scene where he's getting drowsy and he can't go, and Shirley takes over, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you didn't see that coming, right? He's been used to
Yeah.
being chauffeured his whole life. Well,
The
not his whole life,
promise.
but
The promise to be home for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so important for Dr. Shirley to do that.
And this is the point. Yeah, okay, they have a flat tire.
and I
but-
love this because the cops are good now because
Yeah.
they're on the north.
Because, yeah, you can tell the point where they cross that line where...
The Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, where...
That tire is clearly not flat there. And then the next shot of it, it's going to be on the rim.
It's a movie.
Clearly not flat.
Wait. Movie's gone a movie.
I think that's Jeff guy going to Jeff. I don't think it's clearly not
look.
flat.
No, he's
on-
right.
It's
It's right on the
right.
rim there.
Yeah, but
right on the
I
rim.
mean, the angle pulled back from it was snow on the ground. I think you were forcing that.
No, it was
Yeah.
it was up and you could see it.
Okay, away from the tire. We're going to go back to the
Oh, are we
cop.
actually going to go back? Are we
No,
going to
no,
do a
no.
replay?
No, we are not. But we're going
Okay.
to go to the cop who's actually directing the traffic to keep keep the other cars moving so that they can safely change not flat tire.
I will argue there's objectively no flaws in this.
Except for the tires.
That's not true. Objectively, Jeff.
My kid was watching this for like 5 minutes, and he's like watching the background. There's gonna be like a brand new car
Yeah.
mixed in and all that, because they always do that. And
Yeah.
This
He's
movie
like,
does a beautiful
we'll just
job.
be on that one up there. And
There's movie makers out there that go to incredible lengths not to create that fault.
Did
that
you?
flaw. And I mean, they're asshole people, but they create good.
Have you seen No Country for Old Men?
Parts, bits and pieces.
Amazing movie, but
That's what I've heard.
yeah. But there's a scene where he's at the gas station and Anton, and he's buying some peanuts, and the peanuts have nutritional information on it, and that happened after the timestamp of the movie that they started putting those on packages.
Oh, okay.
So,
and you know, I can stand behind that being a minor fault.
oh, it was minor at best.
Yeah.
That movie is also pretty much without flaws. So.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know.
This scene in the Christmas household, it reminds me of Christmas at my grandma's house.
You had fish,
Yeah, what the
that
fuck was up with
actually-
that, by the way?
a different culture.
Freaking Italians.
Definitely did not have fish. Not a lot of fish eating in growing up.
Calzones at Christmas?
Well,
Not to mention them literally just forking off the carcass, you know? Like, not even serving. They're just literally going in there and forking off the carcass.
oh, that's they raised Tony Lip for God's sakes. Of course they're like going right into it. The man's an animal. Oh, he's so sweet sleeping in the back.
But you know, it's at that point too where Dr. Shirley takes over. It doesn't actually. It implies without implying that he's going to take over driving.
Yeah, you know, totally.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, guys, it's that time. Should we get into our final thoughts?
absolutely.
Laura, do you want to begin? This was your pick.
I can begin. So,
Dearly beloved.
Dearly
We were
beloved.
gathered here today. We must do something about the Superman menace. No? No?
I want pictures of Spider-Man.
The Superman Menace?
Yeah, the Superman.
we bring him a cultured movie and they start talking about Marvel.
That's not true. That was DC.
That's a reference to my buddy Josh Huntis. At his wedding, he famously, I shouldn't say famously, but like
Infamously.
infamously, he's just like, okay, we've gathered you all here for this matrimony. We must do something about Superman. Love it, I guess.
So, that was your own, like, league of
He
whatever?
did. Yeah, he was the Legion of Doom. Or
That's what it was
whatever.
called. I couldn't remember what it was called, yeah.
So, Laura, I guess, now that we've had that small interlude, let's hear your final thoughts on this movie.
I'm still trying to wrap my brain around how Superman has anything to do with this. But
I blame me.
I blame you too. So, my thoughts on this movie is, yes, it's not typical for me. Definitely not typical.
So
But-
it wasn't stereotyping by my wife?
Yes, it was.
I'm gonna
But-
go tell her how prejudiced she is.
So, no, you can't. No.
Yeah,
so,
I am.
So in,
Everyone said you're stereotyping Laura.
no, Corey's stereotyping me. How about that? So,
Okay.
right?
Fuck you, Laura.
Fight me, Corey. So, but you know, overall, it's a sad movie, but it's kind of a beautiful movie at the same time. I mean, it's showing the development of a friendship while dealing with racism. Not
While doing, yeah.
what?
No, sorry.
What?
I was saying you're saying while dealing with this, while they say also while dealing with this, while dealing
Right,
with this, while
there's-
dealing with
This is a
There's
nice,
so many-
smooth final thoughts, Laura. This is
Yeah, I'm
beautiful.
getting through it. Tell him to shut up.
Good luck.
You know, you're
Corey, shut up.
derailing me. But you know, it's one of those ones I would watch again. Obviously, I've watched it several times. I bought the damn thing so that you guys could watch it. But it shows the difference between 1960s and what we're going through now. Is probably the best way to deal with it. I mean, it's more realized now. It's more talked about now. But you don't realize now how hard it actually hit. And he's got the green stone.
He stole the fucking
He
rock!
stole the
rock.
fucking rock.
you.
So for me, it's, and this one will get one of the highest ratings for me. This one is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Hard to argue with that. It
Yeah.
really is.
Totally.
Corey, what about you? What are your final thoughts on the Green Book?
if I could pull out a thesaurus, I'm just going to repeat pretty much everything Laura had to say. Like you said, it's sad, it's happy, blah, blah. I'm just going to sum it up. It was emotional. It was emotionally driven. It was amazing. It was heartbreaking. It just pisses me off that life was like this. And again, being the person I am, and I'm not a good person sometimes, being the person I am and seeing, and just like, again, I never got welled up, which is surprising. Because I don't, usually most dramas get to me. But it hit my heart more than it hit my eyes. Just so beautifully done, so beautifully acted, so beautifully directed, so beautifully cinematographized. My God, like, everybody needs to see this movie, in my opinion. I know I go usually out of 5. This is 100 out of 100.
100 out of 100, eh?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Jeff.
So when you said this movie, I expected it to be a white savior movie, because that's what I'd heard about it, and it exceeded my expectation on that, which I'm very thankful for. It too often this could have delved into a movie where the white guy saves the day and is fighting against racism. And it wasn't that. It was a relationship movie between two friends that are going through a difficult situation. And one is trying to fight through it, and the other one's just trying to fight for his livelihood, right? It's a gorgeous movie, like you guys said. It's very emotional. As it's been said before, very well shot and well done. Very few nitpicks in it. It was surprising to me how engaged I stayed through the whole thing. I knew it was good. I didn't know it was this good. I'm going to have to give it a Last Crusade. A solid 100% Last Crusade.
So is that good?
That is
Okay.
He actually threw a number in there.
He
so
did.
I'm just saying.
Yes. So there's our gauge.
Fucking ciphers.
Another-
We're getting there.
Another support. Another piece of evidence to build upon. There.
Somebody needs
Mike, what's your final thought on this movie?
I don't think anybody said anything
Record.
incorrect tonight as far as final thoughts. I do want to say, I used to say something. Theater. Whenever I did theater, theater's about emotions. That every emotion, feeling every emotion, is important. And this movie did that. To avoid any emotion, you're empty inside. And this gave me all the emotions. I laughed. I cried. I hate it because it sounds corny, but that real human condition, this is the reality of the common man, of how they look at it. We're not going into the fringe of racism. This is like the guy next door type relationship. And when you take the moment, the guy next door, and you walk a mile in their shoes and you talk to that man, that's what it's going to be. And that's what it means to me. These are my favorite movies. I don't search for them out because they're so hard to find really true ones. Eventually we're going to do The Whale someday. And these are movies that I'm not expecting them, but when they grab you with your whole heart, your whole soul. And that's what it meant to me. And real people. There was real people on this movie.
Well, and I just want to point out, based on the real people there, it actually it states in the credits, one of the producers was Nick Villamona, his grandson.
Yeah.
Side note, can we take a moment to appreciate that this was one of the directors of Dumb and Dumber?
Oh, right. I was going to say that it was one of the Farrelly brothers, right?
Yeah.
And I was quite.
So obviously we know who the stupid one is out of the two of them now. So
So, clearly 10 out of 10 on both scales for me. So, obviously. And another thing, I wanted to point out. Yeah, I forgot it. Shit!
I feel I've learned a
I
lot.
wanted to point out.
Away with words, Mike.
We're
Away
going
with
to take
words.
a moment to appreciate the fact that Mike is speechless.
That's a different type of appreciation. That's appreciation for our ears.
Right?
Yeah.
Do we even need to do where it belongs in the video store? Because
No.
like it's cut and dry, right?
This one is very cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's drama, 100%. There's zero debate. There's comedic moments, but like no, it's not a comedy.
I don't want to correct him. There's humorous. I don't think there's a stitch of comedy.
Ninja DeVoe. You see that name coming up the middle now?
Yeah.
That is the waitress in the Orange Bird. Her name is fucking Ninja.
Why would somebody name their kid fucking?
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, we ran out of time.
Okay.
Ever gone by?
This movie is an Oscar winner. It
It
won
is.
the year, and I hate the fact this is the same year that Black Panther was nominated
Oh,
for
God.
Best Picture. So the bar was pretty low. This was a year that I would have loved to seen this in any year. 'Cause
What did
it
this
would've-
take home?
What's that?
What did this take
Took
home?
Best Picture.
Best
and
Picture.
Didn't it take home
But I
also
think
leading
screenplay.
actor?
Might have, but
Didn't Marcella win for this
I'm
or
pretty
no?
sure Marshall won
yeah,
for this
not
one.
too sure. But I know
Because it says on the cover of the case, Academy Award winner.
yeah.
And I would assume it'd be for this because everything else I've seen him is not Academy Award worthy. So,
No, I remember that, and I remember,
And it said
all
Deagle was a nominee, but
the
I think that was in
hardcore
history,
Marvel
so.
fans were sitting there going, "Well, Black Panther was nominated, so it was worth." No, there was shit for movies other than this one.
every
and
year
another
when
one.
there's. Because I think that was back then when there was still 5, or was it 10 at that point?
I can't remember.
Either way.
Jeff?
Oh,
So, Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor.
So that's Mashallah.
Yeah, which I'm surprised he's supporting actor because I would consider that a
well,
well,
if he
No.
goes
No,
the
because
lead.
goes the lead, I
Tony's
guess.
lead
Yeah.
role.
Best Original Screenplay
Nice.
and Best Actor.
Oh, they both got it.
They both got
And
it.
I feel like those are all deserving awards.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of times Oscars are
See-
kind of BS.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I said it during the Oscars too. The only one in the last 5 years that I thought was deserving was the Green Book.
Yeah. And it's funny, you look at something like this, Oppenheimer's a very different thing.
I tried.
Right? As good as it was, and it was very, very good, it didn't have the same feel. And maybe that's because that was more science or geared behind this death machine. But this one really pulls you into the humanity of it, the human condition. I don't think Oppenheimer really did that.
Does it have the kind of emotion in this? I kind of doubt it. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet.
It didn't pull me in that way. There were moments, but it didn't do it for me.
Me and Corey were talking about doing Oppenheimer when it came out, and we were like, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and we opted for Barbie instead, to mixed results.
I liked you did it. I thought that was the best one you did.
I've actually had a few people say that, actually.
I thought you did it very respectfully. I could see a lot of other elder millennials tearing it apart.
But
You
he's
know?
a Gen X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you official?
Corey's a Gen X.
1979.
Oh, okay. So you're at the end. I'm at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah. Jeff
I'm
and I-
almost a boomer. You're almost a millennial.
Yeah.
Jeff and I are
think
the millennials who
Yeah.
think that we're Gen X.
Yeah.
I'm entrenched in my millennialism. I fully think that us millennials as a generation should embrace our millennialness.
Did you just say as a race?
Maybe. Sometimes you gotta listen to what I mean, not what I say.
Right? But, yeah.
On that note, we bid you adieu, peer people.
Adieu?
Adieu. Adieu.
Adieu.
I really do.
Dude looks like a lady.
Is that it?